Personajes de ficción convertidos en héroes sociales. Experiencias activistas basadas en cuentos populares. Mitos que escapan de los libros y aparecen en cualquier manifestación. Máscaras anónimas enfrentadas a políticos villanos. Héroes del día a día combatiendo la crisis con creatividad. Metrópolis dedica su programa de esta noche a un conjunto de propuestas creativas situadas a medio camino entre la ficción y el activismo social.
La ficción política hace tres operaciones. La primera, crea un nombre o un personaje colectivo, que la segunda, produce nueva realidad, y por último, interrumpiendo la realidad que existe.
Las ficciones son proyecciones delirantes que nacen en el espacio que queda entre el autor y el que las recibe. Estos proyectos se centran más en el que las recibe, en el espectador. El espectador es alguien más libre de lo que suelen pensar las corrientes críticas. Una imagen nunca puede representarlo todo. Es el espectador el que añade o complementa aquello que falta.
Yes, today I'm here as Unemployed Man, the jobless avenger, the master of 1,000 resumes, fighting for the rights of the unemployed, the underemployed, and the creatively self-employed.
Well, I think we started this project with the belief that stories are important. And as human beings, stories help us understand the world and our place in it. And the stories that we believe about who we are can inspire us to act, or they can keep us quiet and obedient. And the problem is that so many of the stories that we are told tell us that we are lesser human beings, whether it's because we're poor or unemployed or an immigrant. So we wanted to tell a story that blew all of those stories of powerlessness to pieces. And our story would tell us that we're not just human beings, but we were superhuman beings, and help us recognize that we are being heroic in our everyday lives, just by trying to survive in this really unfair, brutal economy. The main character is, of course, Unemployed Man, who I'm dressed as today, who looks a bit like Superman, only after he's been sleeping on somebody's couch for a couple months. And we also have a character like Wonder Mother, who has to fight against economic supervillains, but with a baby strapped to her chest, which is something that I'm sure a lot of working mothers can really relate to. We also have a character called the Master of Degrees, who is a graduate student superhero whose power is that he's super overeducated for any of the jobs that are currently available. And he is shackled by debt and carries around a giant ball and chain everywhere he goes that says student loans on it, which is, again, something that I think hundreds of thousands of students in this country and around the world can relate to, because they're all just being crushed by debt.
We also have a character called Fantasma, who is perhaps the first undocumented immigrant superhero ever, and her power is that she's invisible, but only to those who hire her. And her character speaks to the invisibility that many immigrants feel in a larger society.
We're looking at a period of time in which people are willing to put their bodies on the line to fight for justice. And right here in this square, all these people who are camped out here, they may not be wearing masks or capes or brightly colored spandex tights, but without question, they are heroes. And all of the people who are part of this movement across the country to try and change our society for the better and are willing to take real risks in order to do that, that is the work of superheroes.
Of course, you can't have a story about superheroes without having a lot of great supervillains. The Invisible Hand is probably the main supervillain in our book that is the sinister mastermind behind all of it. And he represents that invisible force that is constantly trying to manipulate the rules of our economy in favor of the top 1%. And so often when people are fighting against these economic forces, it is very difficult for them to know what they're fighting against. It feels sometimes like we're fighting against, thin air, because these are policies and ideas. And so we thought that if we could put these ideas and these policies in masks and capes and brightly colored spandex underwear, then people could point at them and understand them more clearly and realize that that is what they're fighting against.
Culture, to me, especially, culture is what makes the world go around. The culture is all around us. Culture is like how we think. It feeds our mind, our ideologies of, this folk culture, this stories, bedtime stories for children, teaching them morals. We use culture to translate how we operate in society.